Fiery smoke seeped out from Taeyeon's mouth, as his eyes started to be blinded in rage. With all his might, he released all the energy from his body, causing a wave of hot fiery air to burst around the area. Slowly, his flames dissipated along with his berserk side effect. Taeyeon let out a sigh of relief. It was about to be dangerous if he didn't release all his power, and his rationality would be consumed. This is the second time since he awakened that he was able to use his skill properly. However, Taeyeon was wrong about one thing. He glanced towards Joonsoh. He confirmed his suspicions that the young man wasn't your average awakened, and the moment his ability was known to the world, the whole world would focus on him. Taeyeon grew uneasy from the thought. Both of the main characters admired the scorching flesh of the Arachne's demise. Joonsoh indifferently checked out the carcass. He could see a purple aura emanating from the monster's corpse. Joonsoh was amazed at the amount of mana the Arachne has. Even other dungeon air bosses couldn't compare with her. Hey, Joonsoh called out to the guild master. He asked him if he felt something from the corpse. Taeyeon didn't feel anything, and stated that it was dead. There's also no chance of her revival, as they got rid of all the remnants in the dungeon. Joonsoh got his answer. It seemed that even a high-ranked hunter couldn't sense the purple mana. He activated his mana absorption skill, and the purple mana was assimilated into his body. He took a look at his skill window. He had accumulated 150 mana, which had exceeded the required 100 of accumulated mana for a reward. He gained a new skill, demonic weapon production. It's an active skill, and by using 100 purple mana he accumulated with his mana absorption skill, he can make weapons from the demonic realm. A demonic weapon that was made once can be saved, and materialized without any additional mana consumption. The skill can only be used once per day for 10 minutes. Joonsoh couldn't visualize what kind of weapons the demonic weapons would be. He couldn't remember any concept of the demonic realm, but he just guessed it was the one everyone knows of. Although he didn't get the mana-related rewards that he would like, he is okay with the one he got. His mana absorption skill gauge dropped to 50 per 100 as he claimed his reward. He closed his skill window. Thanks to the Arachne, he still has half of the required mana. And it seemed that he could continue receiving rewards if he filled the skill gauge. Taeyeon called out to Joonsoh, and told him that he had something to say. Before Joonsoh could annoyingly ask what it is. The guild master apologizes for his rudeness in asking him to join his guild after Joonsoh's refusal. The sudden apology surprised the young man. Taeyeon told him that this was the thing he wanted to say sorry about, and sincerely apologized again. Joonsoh was taken aback by the situation. The scene where the guild master of Overkill bowed to a deranked helper was witnessed by the tanker who came to check on them. He was stupefied by the situation. He then tried to reason with himself that based on their experience with Joonsoh's abilities, he is definitely not a normal person, and he may be a hidden talent of the Overkill guild. He heard his other teammates closing in, and whipped his head in horror. The warrior and mage just finished scouting the area for stray remnants, and confirmed that all of the spiders had been eliminated in the boss room. The warrior highly praised the weapon made by Joonsoh, saying that he could easily slice and dice monsters without exerting any energy. The mage agreed with him, and said that she never heard of a maker that could make such incredible weapons. She thought that he may be related to the Overkill guild in some way. She noticed a figure rushing toward them. The tanker had dashed towards them, and using his slightly larger figure, blocked them from witnessing the weird situation ahead. He feverishly said that they should leave for now, and contact the association about what they experienced. Both of the newbies who couldn't read the tanker's social cues asked him why they should leave already. And the mage wanted to thank Taeyeon for his help. The tanker flailed his hands around, trying to smile and act normal, as he told them that they should quickly leave this disgusting place. The warrior told him that they got it, so stop pushing them. The tanker, still shielding the situation ahead, predicted that the helper must be related to Taeyeon's guild, and that they should leave, because nothing good would come out if they got involved in a big guild's business. But there's one thing he can't wrap his head around. For a big guild that emphasizes the importance of hunter security, it's weird for Joonsoh to reveal such strong power, regardless of how drastic the situation is. Fine, let's talk. Joonsoh sighed, and gave in to the guild master's request. He told Taeyeon, even if he did use rental pay, a guild master shouldn't be bowing his head in front of just anyone. Taeyeon promised the young man that he and the guild wouldn't try to bother him anymore. But it doesn't mean that they are giving up on recruiting him, as this is the first opportunity Taeheon have to converse more with Joonsoh. He suggested they sign a contract, and he assured that Joonsoh would like these conditions. Time skipped to the Overkill Guild's building. Hee-soo and Joonsoh are sitting opposite sofas in a casual meeting room, facing each other. Hee-soo greeted the young man and introduced herself as the attending secretary of the guild. She is in charge of the contract proceedings today. Joonsoh thanked her and said that he knew the guild master would contact him soon, but to think he was immediately contacted the next morning. Hee-soo said that the guild master told her to handle the contract as soon as possible, so she did. Joonsoh casually asked their location, because it seemed like they had come further into the guild building. She informed him that this room is to handle special meetings inside the guild, as the security for this room is particularly strict. If Joonsoh is worried about any leaks about his abilities, he could rest assured that it won't happen. She slightly pushed the contract towards him on the table, telling him to read as the contract contained the conditions that Taeheon mentioned to him inside the dungeon. If he needs to change anything he could tell her, although the revision might take some time. Our protagonist picked up the contract paper. He smiled a bit at the same contents that Taeheon mentioned in the dungeon. The conditions that were mentioned by mouth feel more realistic when it's organized neatly on a contract. He placed the contract with a content smile and told Hee-soo to proceed as it was. We then got a flashback of the conversation inside the dungeon. Taeheon suggested that Joonsoh could be their unofficial support. He also empathized that he vaguely understood the reason why Joonsoh doesn't want to join a guild. Joonsoh slightly flinched when Taeheon guessed that he wanted to hide his identity. He said that this offer might help him if that is his reason, as they could secretly supply any materials he needed, be it equipment, ingredients, or gate rights. However, Joonsoh still needs to sign a contract for formalities, but the contract will be sent in secret. The young man asked him why he was being so kind to him. Taeheon responded that the conditions were not free, and Joonsoh needed to help him solve the commissions he personally requested. Nevertheless, he won't force him to do the commissions that he doesn't like. Joonsoh commented sarcastically, what happens if he only receives support from them, but doesn't return the favor? That's fine, Taeheon said in a serious face. He told him that the contract's sole purpose was to create a connection between Joonsoh and the Overkill Guild, and also prevent other guilds from stealing him. The acceptance of a commission is just a token of Joonsoh's sincerity. As he was concluding the contract conditions, they heard people running towards them. Two men in suits and sunglasses said that they came from the association and asked about their well-being. Taeheon told Joonsoh they should head out now and he'll hear his response outside. He hoped for a positive response, but emphasized that Joonsoh didn't need to feel burdened about it. He looked at the young man with a smile, saying that his ability to him has even greater value than this. The flashback ended and we're back in the meeting room. Joonsoh did plan to leave a firm impression on Yoon Taeheon, and continue with the relationship with the Overkill Guild without entering it. Regardless on how it was done, this contract is very beneficial for him. He signed the contract and gave it back to Hee-soo. He asked when their support for him would start. The secretary said that he could start requesting anything he wanted from her right now, as she took out a box from her subspace bag. She gave the box to Joonsoh, saying that this was the guild master's gift to commemorate the signing of the contract. She said that he found a useful item in Araki's room. The young man took the present and opened it. A purple light shone from inside the box. He briefly stared at it, and thanked her for the gift as he rummaged through his backpack. He took out his list of support materials that he would like them to provide him, and handed it to Hee-soo, asking when he would be able to receive it. She received the list and briefly estimated. The secretary replied that they would be able to send it to him in a week. But she told him she thought that these materials won't help him much. Joonsoh told her that he was not the one using it, and the materials were meant for someone else, as he got ready to leave. The scene skips to the Hunters Association building. In the lobby, where hunters usually register for a temporary party for a dungeon raid. Joonsoh checked the time on his phone. He thought that the person he wanted to meet would be coming around at this time. A young woman entered the building awkwardly. Joonsoh's lips curved into a small smile, as he finally found the person he had been waiting for. She is the A-rank hunter, Hanjia. She has blonde long hair and brown eyes. Her large-rimmed glasses couldn't hide the awkwardness and uneasiness she felt from the lack of confidence she had. Although she looks quite timid right now, but in the future that Joonsoh knows, she will be an immensely talented archer. A single arrow of hers can one-shot a twin-headed ogre. After the system's player selection starts, she will be a genius known as the God Archer. Hanjia awkwardly walked towards the information desk. She politely greeted both the employees. With every cell in her body screaming in pain from social anxiety, she meekly requested a training use gate entrance, and proceeded to hand them her hunter's license. The lady brightly smiled. She exclaimed that she was an A-ranked hunter, and asked her if she wanted a C-ranked training gate. Hanjia awkwardly scratched her cheek, trying to not make any eye contact with the lady, and shyly requested the lady to get a D-ranked gate for her. The lady was confused. The man beside her checked the hunter's information. He found out that, even though she was just registered as an A-ranked hunter, she barely had any experience. According to the information, she has only gone into a gate twice. Although he had seen many lower-ranked hunters give up being hunters altogether, he had never seen a high-ranked hunter like this. He glanced at the blonde hunter who was filling up the form. His experience tells him that this person will be demoted soon from A rank. Awakeners' rankings are judged by their unconditional mana amount. During the first time, when the blue energy poured out from the sky cracks, everyone's body took in mana. Despite that, everyone absorbed a different proportion of mana. The more mana within one's body, the better the abilities one will manifest. Thus, the association started to inspect the amount of everyone's mana. As for those who absorbed more than a certain amount of mana, they will be acknowledged as awakened. After dividing regular people and awakeners, they would divide the awakened based on their mana amount. Of course, like a corporate ladder, low-ranking hunters can stack up their performance through dungeon raids, and get acknowledged by the association for a promotion. And without any doubt, demotion also exists, if the hunter doesn't perform well. Hanjia finished filling up her gate request form. The lady professionally smiled, and received her application, with an accompanied question about a dungeon partner. The girl shook her head, and told her that she didn't have a member to go with. The lady then proceeds to tell her that she would be putting her up on the partner recruitment list, as they need at least 2 people to raid the dungeon. The lady informed her that she needed to wait for a while, as currently no hunters were requesting a D-ranked training gate. The blonde girl nervously asked the lady if she could go alone. The lady told her it was only possible if she had a license permit for soloing gates. She asked if Hanjia wanted to sign up for the license. However, she needed to go through a test for it. Hanjia awkwardly declined, and said that she would wait. As Hanjia was about to walk away, the lady called out to her, stating that she needed to renew her first hunter qualification in a month, and the girl winced. She told her that she probably had seen the notification in her messages to renew her A-rank hunter qualifications. She needs to either have several C-ranked and above gate experiences, or pass an actual A-rank test. Reading Hanjia's dungeon experiences, the lady stated that she probably needed to take the test, and she might receive a message about the test soon. She also hoped that Hanjia would pass, as the blonde girl frantically thanked the lady. Joonsoh was just casually listening to their conversation at a side. The timid hunter retreated to find a place to wait for her partner. She slouched her back, trying to curl into a ball from the social anxiety. She regretted that she came to the building for the gate request, and did not do it online. She scolded herself that she must be crazy to come to a place with so many people. After slightly beating herself up mentally. Initially, she came here with the mindset of not getting demoted. She told herself to not lose that mindset, and she cheered herself on. It's just a D-ranked gate, so the incident last time won't happen again, she thought. She cannot take her sweet time to overcome her fears anymore. A notification popped up on her phone. She thought that she would need to wait a bit longer for a partner request to come, but it came so fast. She looked at the person's rank. It's a D rank, as expected. She planned to go on alone anyway, so it doesn't matter what rank her partner is. They just need to fill up the quota. She agreed to the request. She finally reached their D rank training gate. The venue is filled with other hunters who want to raid the gate too. Hanjia is in her battle gear. She feels awkward wearing it, because it has been so long since she wore it. A young man's voice asked if she was Hunter Hanjia. I'm Shin Joonsoh, the support. I hope we get along. Our protagonist smiled as he walked up towards her. Hanjia instantly bowed politely and introduced herself frantically. Joonsoh looked at her with a sweat drop. He politely apologized that he was late and they could go in now. She stuttered a bit and said that she would make the request. Based on his past memories, Hanjia's first awakened estimate was an A-ranked ranger class. However, after multiple failed tests, she was the only A-rank hunter who got demoted to a C rank. So, how did she claim the name God Archer in the future, you asked? Well, she was chosen as a player, and she was able to find her hidden talent. More importantly, Joonsoh knows what her talent is. It's a talent that she can discover even without the help of the system, and he will be awakening Hanjia's talent today. Inside the dungeon was another forest terrain. The monsters in this dungeon are goblins. They mostly will patrol the area in groups. Like humans, they have a concept of battle, with 2 melee goblins and 1 long-ranged goblin. Hanjia is observing the 3 goblins behind the bushes, waiting for them to leave the area. She checked the watch that she didn't regret buying. It's an equipment that senses the monster's mana, and it just did a good job notifying her about the goblin group just now. She turned to her partner who was crouching behind her, and politely asked him if she could kill the monsters by herself, as she was also planning to go alone anyway. She told Joonsoh that she would give him all the loot she collected, and compensate him for his company. The young man sat on the ground, and told her not to worry about him. However, if she needed any support, she could just give him a holler. He could provide her arrows at the very least. She stood up and thanked him for understanding. She loaded her arrow, pulled the string behind, and started to aim. She mentally told herself to not be nervous. When the timing's correct, she released her arrow. A strong straight line of mana rapidly shot towards the unsuspecting goblin. The arrow didn't directly hit its target, but took the side of a melee goblin's face. The other 2 goblins managed to avoid the deadly arrow, as the damaged goblin screeched in pain. The archer goblin drew its arrow for an attack, but Hanjia shot another mana beam towards them. The goblins dodged the straight beam in a frenzy. Joonsoh was observing her attacks with an indifferent face. He hadn't seen Hanjia's fights before she became a player in a long time. Although her pure destructive power exceeds a normal A-ranked hunter by a milestone, it's useless if she is bad at landing a hit. She drew another arrow from her quiver. Analyzing her past performances, her best result is where, at least one of the 3 arrows she shot will be effective. If she keeps this up, she could shoot at least 4 more arrows. She hoped that she could end things in 2 more shots. Suddenly, her concentration was cut short by the blowing of the goblin's horn. The archer goblin managed to blow its horn, calling for reinforcements. Without giving her time to think, a few dozen more footsteps were heard marching towards the area. She felt the hair at the back of her neck stand, as her blood suddenly ran cold. The watch that detects the monster's mana is vibrating tremendously, to alert her of a horde of monsters. Soon, she was completely surrounded by goblins, who came to aid the wounded goblins. Her brain cells are doing a marathon run, as she desperately tries to think of a solution to escape this situation. The goblins behind her made their advances towards the hunter who was frozen in fear. In a flash, a light of mana appeared, and several mana greatswords blocked the attack of the goblin reinforcements. Joonsoh walked towards her with his right palm glowing from his skill. He asked for her help. Huh? Didn't you say you're a D-ranked maker? The blonde archer asked in surprise at his skill display. He said that he is indeed a D-ranked maker. He informed her that he couldn't last long alone and that's why he needed her help. Hanjia asked what should she do, and Joonsoh pointed in the direction towards the forest. He instructed her to use all her power and shoot an arrow in that direction, as they could see some goblins blocking the path. She doesn't know what the maker had planned, but she did what she was told. A strong force of mana shot through the forest, opening a straight path for the 2 hunters. As Hanjia was asking what's the purpose of the arrow shot, she felt Joonsoh grab her hand. He blatantly told her that since she shot a path, they should make use of it and run for their lives. Hanjia couldn't believe the simple strategy that she just heard, and just let Joonsoh guide her, as they escaped the deadly horde of goblins behind them.